Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Data Playbook. So, today we're going to shorten things down, try to just run through some of the major statistics, and if you want to see anything, you're welcome to pause and stop along the way into any data you want to see. But I'm just going to try to shorten the videos a little bit more. I don't think people want to listen to me read off all the statistics nonstop the entire video. So, let's see how this goes. It's going to be LA at Jacksonville as our first game at 9:30 a.m. So, let's jump into it. All right, so going through the team's information, right now I have the total information right up here. So if you want to pause and see the total stats for the season, you can see the total stats for both teams right now. This might be most useful for passing interceptions, either received or given away by both teams. Quickly giving that up, and then I'm going to change over to the averages. So if you want to look at the averages per game, this now has their averages. These averages do correlate to the actual passing ranks in terms of how I rank the teams. So, for example, we have LA that's favored on the money line with a spread of 3 points and a total line of 44.5 points. They do have a passing rank of 2, while they have an allowed scoring rank of 30. So they give up quite a few points, even though they're not the worst at allowed passing or rushing. Total in terms of how much they give up for the whole season, they give up some of the most points. They do have one of the best passing ranks in the season. Over here, you have an allowed passing rank of 31 from Jacksonville. The rest is kind of somewhat in the middle. An allowed scoring rank is kind of low, so they get scored on a lot. They can't stop scoring. Same thing over here with with LA, and same thing over here with LA. But this allowed passing rank of 31, almost the worst in the league of allowed passing versus one of the best passing teams in the league. So I would expect a lot of passing. However, if we look at the depth chart, you have Pukanuka as the top wide receiver, except for that I have him listed the same way, but with ESPN, he's listed as out, right? So, not expected to play. It doesn't look like. If we look at injuries, coach has him, he will not play on Sunday. So, keep that in mind if you have him or if you're playing against him. That's why we're going to look at receivers and not include Pukanuka for the receivers when we look at them real fast. So just flashing the quarterback information, these are the season totals. And then moving over to the averages here, you have week by week if you're interested in any of that information. The only things to point out is that Stafford's had 2 interceptions, 3 rushing fumbles, 1 loss, 1 sack fumble loss. So 5 turnovers total with 11 sacks suffered, while Lawrence has had 5 interceptions, 13 sacks suffered, and 1 rushing fumble loss. Given that Stafford has an average of 200 plus 80 passing yards per game, which is pretty insane. You know, his worst week with 196, his best week with 389 passing yards. So Pukanuka would be valid target if he was in this game. Otherwise, Devontae Adams or Jordan Whittington might be the best targets for this game. And if we look at the running backs, this is what you have for the matchup with Williams and Intonine. Looking at their averages, this is what you should get. And week by week, you have both their rushing yards and carries here, as well as their receiving yards here. So if there's anything you want to look into more in depth, these should be week by week numbers that will give you that information. And then just going into the wide receivers, I need to fix some of this so that this is a little easier to read and it matches up with what they have. But these are the season totals. Just going through the averages, this is what you have for averages. And week by week, here's the receiving yards for both teams, with the largest share being Devontae Adams and Brian Thomas. Devontae Adams may get the largest share just because he's been in more. Pukanuka may not be as much of a targeted receiver, or he just may be covered more. So something more to look into, but Devontae Adams does seem to get the largest share on the team. Lastly, looking at our tight ends, this is what you have for the season totals. And just dropping it down to the averages, this is what you get. And week by week, if people need to know this information, like I said, you can pause, you can review all this, but I'm not going through it in detail. And there you have it. That's the morning game that's going to happen in Wimbledon at 9:30 a.m. It's going to be LA at Jacksonville, even though Jacksonville's in Wimbledon, so it's not really them hosting it. But if you need any information, all of it is presented there. You can go pause, you can go back, you can review any of it. Let me know what you think. If you liked it, then give a like and subscribe. If you want to have a comment on how I should change things or if you want to make things better, then leave a comment and let me know how I can do that. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.